The vampire pulls out his royal pendant and he summons the darkness. A faint dark mist starts emitting from the pendant. The mist turns into bat-like creatures. Soon these creatures develop human-like faces and they start eating up the fleeing soldiers. Our story starts in the middle of a jungle where a few thugs are happy after doing their job. It turns out they just killed a government official. They released their hungry dogs upon the dead body of the inspector. The thugs did it all to make it look like a ferocious beast killed him. The thugs start heading back after removing their traces. In order to prevent the corruption of the local officials, the king would dispatch monks with authority to conduct secret inspections. These monks are called royal inspectors. However, many of these royal inspectors were killed in mysterious accidents. Royal inspectors not only monitor and prosecute corrupt officials, they also protected and watched over the common people in King's name. A huge mining operation is going on near the place where the royal inspector was killed. The head guard threatens the laborers by saying that he will beat up anyone who slacks off. The laborers are wondering where are the royal inspectors when they need them. Meanwhile, the corrupt district governor is enjoying his life without having any worry about his people. One of his men reports to him that they just took care of the royal inspector. The governor compliments his thug for the hard work. He then throws a lot of coins toward him, and he tells him to treat his hard-working servants to a generous meal. After a few hours, someone approaches the office of the district governor. The guards stop him at the gate and ask him for his identity. This person turns out to be a royal inspector, and he shows his seal to them. The guards become confused as they thought the thugs already took care of him. A guard runs toward the governor manor to inform him that an inspector just arrived to check the account details. Meanwhile, the royal inspector is ordering around the guards to move all books and ledgers to his room so he can read them. He further says that the warehouse will remain sealed until the inspection is completed, and anyone who violates this rule will be punished for disobeying the royal command. The thugs present in the office building become scared because they were sure they killed him in the jungle. After some time, the district governor arrives at the office. The inspector tells the governor that before coming to the office, he noticed that the laborers were being exploited. He further mocks the governor for his poor performance and he orders him to immediately prepare his report and bring it to him. The governor has no other option but to comply with the demands of the royal inspector. After some time, the governor confronts the thugs for lying to him about the death of the royal inspector. The thugs are not sure as to why he's still alive, and they assure the governor that they will take care of him this time for sure. The governor tells them that this is their last chance for redeeming themselves, and he informs them that tonight the inspector will be staying in a separate house. He further warns them by saying that he will be watching over them to make sure that they properly do their job. During nighttime, the thugs climb over the walls. The royal inspector seems to be busy reading the ledgers. The thugs calmly approach his building. The low-ranked thugs inform their leader that something suspicious is going on. They are 100% sure that he is the same inspector they killed and fed to the hounds. The thug leader tells them to shut up, and this inspector can be a twin brother of the one they just killed in the jungle. This time they will kill this inspector with a big bang. Inside the building, the inspector is reading through the accounts and he found a lot of proofs against the corrupt official. All of a sudden, the thugs throw a bomb inside the building. The explosion of this bomb was quite huge and it left quite a toll on the building. The thug leader lit another bomb on fire. He throws the bomb toward the building using all of his might. As usual, the bomb explodes with a big bang. The thug leader informs his men that this is the correct way of getting rid of righteous vermin. The governor, who was watching it all unfold from afar, enters the manor. The governor inquires about this ruckus from his men. The thug leader mockingly tells him that the inspector accidentally detonated the explosives during his inspection. The governor goes on with their act and orders them to go inside the building and help the poor royal inspector. The thug gets startled after witnessing something unusual. He can see a figure emerging from the smoke. It turns out that the royal inspector is totally fine after taking 2 bombs to his face. The inspector says that they must be the men he saw earlier in the forest. The thugs are confused and afraid at the same time. Inspector asks the thugs if the district governor planned this attack. The governor starts laughing as he already got a backup plan. His soldiers rush inside the manor with their guns. All of them aim their guns at the royal inspector. The governor orders his men to shoot this infidel. All soldiers comply with his command and shoot the inspector. The inspector puts both of his hands around his face. The bullets get deflected after hitting him as if they are hitting a wall made of steel. An unusual thing occurs as the royal inspector starts levitating in the air, and he seems to have developed bat wings like a vampire. The soldiers get startled after witnessing it. Governor orders his men to shoot him again, but they are too afraid, and they start running away. The vampire pulls out his royal pendant and he summons the darkness. A faint dark mist starts emitting from the pendant. The mist turns into bat-like creatures. Soon these creatures develop human-like faces, and they start eating up the fleeing soldiers. The bat demons get more powerful after eating, and they rush toward the remaining soldiers. The soldiers know well that they cannot outrun these demons, so they start fighting back. But their bullets have no effect against these demons. The demons don't kill them all off in one go, and it seems like they're playing with their food. A demon munches on the neck of a soldier. The soldier starts throwing up green liquid, and his body seems to be going through a transformation. All bitten soldiers turn into zombies, and they attack their own fellow soldiers. This fight turned out to be a one-sided slaughter. Most of the soldiers have been turned into zombies. The vampire tells them that this is their punishment for disobeying his orders. All zombies then turn on the governor and eat him up. A few days later, a report arrives at the royal court. The report says that a royal inspector who appears to be a vampire has been destroying government offices and killing all of their appointed governors along with their soldiers. The report further states that people turn into zombies after getting attacked by him. The ministers inform their emperor that they need to do something about it or their whole country will soon be overrun by zombies. A minister suggests that they should quickly raise an army and subdue this vampire. The emperor is just a puppet, and there is someone else sitting behind him who has the real authority. This unknown person turns out to be the mother of the emperor, and she informs the ministers that in the past, their ancestors fought against the vampires with the help of the hero Huaneng. All vampires hate garlic, which serves as their greatest weakness, but it's been 1,000 years since the vampires were driven out of this land by force, and now if the news about the appearance of this vampire is true, then soon the whole country will be engulfed in chaos. The empress says that they cannot fight against a vampire using numbers, so raising an army is totally useless. She suggests that they should hire a talented swordsman and have him exterminate this vampire. A minister recommends a bandit who is active near the Taebaek Mountains. This bandit is even able to harmonize craftsmanship with magic, which will be quite useful against the vampire. The empress asks about the name of this person, and the minister informs her that this bandit is known as Gildong. During nighttime, a self-proclaimed 13-year-old bandit comes face to face with the devil. The devil asks him if he is the silver bullet exorcist who killed his brethren. Gildong tells him that he is right, and he asks the devil to say his prayers. Gildong lights the small rope on his gun on fire. He then shoots the bullet toward the demon in a cringy way. The demon easily dodges his bullet, and he tells Gildong that his aim sucks and he needs to get good. Soon, a small-scale nuclear explosion happens after the bullet touches the ground, and the low-ranked demon perishes in that explosion. In the past, vampires used to rule this land, and the humans fought against the vampires with the help of a demigod called Huaneng. Finally, a hero called Nyo thrusted a sharp weapon into the chest of the vampire lord. The soul of the vampire lord was sealed away using holy water, and the remaining vampires scattered throughout the land. Before getting sealed, the vampire lord said that one day he will restore his strength and return to this land in order to take revenge. He further said that the war between the vampires and humans will never end until not even a single human is left alive. Many years passed after the death of the vampire lord. The hero Nyo was at her deathbed. She told the humans that vampires hate garlic, and they will attack them again during winter when they have no garlic. Nyo told the humans a method to preserve garlic for winters, and she advises them to eat garlic as much as possible so the vampires cannot infiltrate their ranks. After her death, several dynasties have risen and fallen in this land, and the war against the vampires continued for generations. All of this information was written inside a book which young Dilgong was reading. While his mother is preparing food for him, Gildong's mother asks him if he is studying well, and he replies with a yes. Gildong's mother says that she will now show her secret cutting skills to him, and she blows off the candle. Gildong's mother skillfully cuts something in the dark. Gildong lights the candle and he tells his mother to not turn it off as he is studying. Plus, her cutting skills are awful as she chopped off her own fingers instead of rice cake. After getting patched up, his mother says that she is sorry as she is too poor and she can't send her son to the school. But Gildong says that he has no complaints as he is too much of a genius and he can study by himself. But there is one thing bothering him, which is the identity of his father. His mother switches to her lying face and she tells him that his father went on an adventure to make money. Gildong says he is not a kid as he can see through her lies. His mother gives up and she gives him a mask given by her husband. She further informs him that his father was a hero who helped the common people while hiding his identity. Before leaving, he gave this mask to her, and he told her to give it to their son once he becomes 18 years old. His mother don't want to give this mask to him since he's a child, but since he was not happy, so she is just showing it to him. Gildong becomes really sad after hearing it, and he starts crying for some reason. He then runs out of the house after snatching the mask from his mother. He throws away the mask, saying that his future is now ruined. It turns out Gildong was studying hard in order to become a government official and live a stable life. But in order to take the official examination, showing proof of a father is a must, but there are no records of his father as he was a hero and he hid his identity. Now that purpose of his life is gone, he needs to find a new one to get rid of this resentment. Gildong picks up the mask he just threw away as he is now determined to make his place in this world. He then equips the mask in order to inherit the will of his father. This mask seems to have some supernatural properties, and the eyes of Gildong start shooting laser beams and his body goes through a drastic change. This mask turns out to be a legendary ranked item called the Savior's Mask. This mask can significantly boost its user's stats by a lot, but in turn, the user of this mask gets an unknown curse. Gildong's mother was worried about his son, so she reaches the cliff where her son is at. She rushes toward her son after watching him float in the air. In the future, Gildong wakes up from his deep sleep. He is wondering about the same dream he keeps on having again and again. There is someone in his room and he was waiting for him to wake up. This mysterious person has a small height and he is wearing a mask to cover his identity. The unknown person tells him that he was waiting for him to wake up, and Gildong greets him, indicating that he already knows this person. This mysterious person is an underworld merchant, and he pulls out experience points from the spirit bell of Gildong. The merchant hands over a bag full of 100% pure silver, and he tells Gildong that he can only give this much silver to him, and the experience points he collected after killing the last demon are not enough for more silver. The merchant is curious to know that Gildong usually distributes all of his wealth to the poor, but he don't know why Gildong is collecting so much pure silver. He further asks Gildong if he's planning to make silver bullets. Gildong says that he is correct, and he wants to make silver bullets in order to break his curse. Silver bullets can only be made with pure silver, and pure silver can only be found in the underworld. The underworld merchant thanks Gildong for doing business with him. As the merchant was about to leave, he remembers something important. He informs Gildong that a vampire has appeared in this land. There are many speculations around the objective of this vampire, but the most prominent one is that maybe this vampire is trying to break the seal on the vampire lord. Gildong asks him if his spirit bell can find this vampire, and the merchant replies with a no. It turns out vampires are considered high-ranked demons, and Gildong needs to collect more experience point in order to upgrade his spirit bell to a point where it can detect a vampire. He knows that Gildong is strong, but he still warns him to run away if he sees a vampire. Underworld merchant goes away after wishes best of luck to Gildong. Gildong is not afraid to fight a tough opponent, but he cannot find him right now, which is a bummer. The very same day, some people are going on their usual business. An old lady is using a stick made up of a lot of smaller bells. She shouts out loud saying that this new emperor will bring them bad luck. She keeps on ranting about some king or lord who will soon arrive with the army of monsters. She warns the townsfolk to run away from this place as a huge disaster is approaching them. Some people who are hearing her sermons say that the shaman must have gone insane. The monsters are the least of their worries as a rich house recently got annihilated by thieves. Their district governor is a corrupt man who never tries to catch the criminals, and now they have to pay additional taxes so these government officials can live a life of luxury. The vampire was hearing all of this gossip, and he sits down on a bench after ordering meat sashimi, and he instructs the waiter to not add any garlic in his food. After eating the food, he goes away after generously tipping the waiter and flexing his wealth. The vampire starts heading toward another town. After some time, a bandit appears out of the woodwork. He's not alone, as his men have already surrounded the vampires from all sides. The bandit leader tells him that he made a mistake in the town by showing his money so casually. The vampire tells him that he did it on purpose in order to lure out the filth from that village. The bandit leader becomes really pissed after hearing it, but before he can complete his sentence, the vampire uses his sword to strike the bandit leader. This single swing was so powerful that it managed to cut the head of the bandit leader along with his sword and the tree behind him. Vampire emits some energy from his hand. This evil energy pulls up the bandits, rendering them motionless in the process. Strings of blood start popping out of the bandits, and all of their blood combines in a big round shape. The vampire absorbs the ball of blood using his hand. This blood just served as a nourishment for the vampire, and it increased his power as well. After a few days, 2 officials hand over 2 letters to a junior officer and tell him to open one of these letters after leaving the city. The officer accepts the mission without any hesitation. Without wasting any time, he starts heading toward the city gates. A minister doubts about the ability of this union officer, but the other ministers inform him that this boy is called Anson, and he is quite brave and smart, which makes him the right person for this job. After a few minutes, Anson reaches the outskirts of the city. He then reads the letter as instructed, while a bird makes his way toward him. The bird asks him about the details of this mission. Anson burns the letter and informs the bird that they want him to find a person by the name of Gildong and hand him the second letter. According to the letter, Gildong is an amazing self-taught expert who knows a lot of martial techniques. Anson exercises a bit to relax his muscles while the bird asks him about the location of this Gildong. Anson bursts through the air while telling the bird that they need to find him by themselves. Both of them travel 24 hours without taking any rest. In a faraway village, a peasant comes to a mansion to pay back the money he borrowed. The man inside the building closes the door after telling him that he is busy right now. The poor citizen keeps on banging the door as if something bad will happen if he will not repay the money on time. The poor citizen do not gives up, and he keeps on begging them to take the money and return his wife. The guards come out and start beating him for all the commotion. All of a sudden, a voice comes from inside the manor which tells them to let the person come inside. The citizen enters the building, but it is quite dark. He carefully navigates through the dark hallway. At last, he arrives at a door and he tries to take a look inside it. Inside the room, a huge chicken-like demon is munching on the wife of this poor man. The demon tells him that he failed to return the money on time. That's why his wife is going inside his stomach, and he will soon join her as well. Witnessing this monstrosity shakes the poor guy to the core, and he drops down on the ground due to feeling immense fear. The demon grabs the leg of the poor guy and he starts gulping up the citizen while he desperately cries for help. All of a sudden, the roof of the manor gets blasted off. This attacker turns out to be Gildong, who is smoking his tobacco pipe. His spirit bell can detect demons and it is going crazy while pointing toward the chicken demon. Gildong asks for the forgiveness of the demon as he disturbed him while he was enjoying his meal. Gildong warns the fat chicken to throw away the human. The demon spits out the peasant as he needs to be on his 100% while fighting this invader. The chicken demon already knows about his identity as he has been going around slaying demons everywhere. The chicken demon thinks that maybe Gildong is killing demons, so one day the government will appreciate his efforts and give him some rewards. Gildong informs him that he is wrong and he is killing monsters in order to break his curse. All of a sudden, the chicken demon jumps toward Gildong, but he easily manages to dodge it. The demon does a flap attack with his wing and Gildong dodges it as well. The demon shoots his hardened feather toward Gildong, but Gildong easily deflects them using his long barrel. Gildong leaps toward the demon in order to kick him. The demon covers himself with his hardened feathers, which can even block bullets. But the kick of Gildong was so powerful that it blasted through the chest of the demon. A green-colored liquid starts leaking out of the hole Gildong just made. Without giving any time to him to recover, Gildong jumps up in the air. He then strikes the demon using all of his might. The demon falls down inside the building while leaving a big impact. Gildong says that silver bullets are required in order to defeat demons, but this chicken demon was so useless that he died with only martial techniques. Gildong takes out his spirit bell in order to absorb the experience points of this demon. But something seems wrong, as the spirit bell is not absorbing any experience points from the dead demon. All of a sudden, the chicken demon comes back to life and it breaks itself into 2 smaller ones. Without wasting any time, both of them start running toward opposite directions. The chicken mocks him by saying that he can only catch one of them now. Gildong is not buying any of this crap and he pulls up his pipe cigar. He lights both sides of the metal pipe on fire with it. Gildong jumps up high in the air. The chicken demon says that he will soon return and kill Gildong in his sleep. Gildong is not having any of this bullcrap and he fires both sides of the pipe. Both chickens get lit on fire and they turn into ashes after a few seconds. While smoking his tobacco cigar, Gildong says that his double-barrel gun never misses his target. This time, the chicken demon is dead for real and the spirit bell of Gildong absorbs all of its experience points. This empire is called Joseon, and it was formed after the vampires were driven out from this land. But the vampires keep on returning back whenever the human strength weakens. The old emperor died unexpectedly, and his young son took control right away. This changing of regime resulted in a power struggle within the court, and corrupt government officials started running wild in the countryside. The shamans prophesied that this new emperor is the king of monsters and he will bring a disaster upon their land. Right now, both demons and corrupt officials are spreading chaos and corruption throughout the land. During nighttime, a kid asks his grandma why his father and mother have not returned yet. The grandma says that they went to pay back what they owe and they will be back soon. The grandma goes outside to find her unconscious son and daughter-in-law safe and sound. There is a lot of money and expensive goods lying right next to them. Gildong runs away from the scene after killing the demon and helping that poor family. Gildong wears the hero mask, which gives him a lot of power. With great power comes a great responsibility, and Gildong fulfills this responsibility to the fullest.